Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, yes. So happy, happy Monday. Happy that you are here with me this Monday to hang out and to do some fun things. Yeah. I am Marla Renee Stewart, if you don't know already. And we are live here on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Instagram. And I'm here to answer any kind of love questions, intimacy questions, any questions that you may have around any of these things. Today in particular, we are going to talk about excelling in Outercourse, right? Because this month of March has been all about punani, the P word. And in that, we are thinking about all sorts of different ways to please, right? So we talked about anatomy. First week of March, we talked about oral tips, right? We talked about penetrative techniques last week. And of course, this week we're talking about outercourse. And the reason why I wanted to talk more about outercourse is because, sometimes people's genitals are not, they're not available for whatever reason, right? Whether, maybe you are having your cycle, or you are having a breakout, or you're just, maybe it's just not filling up to par for whatever reason, right? This is your opportunity to really still experience pleasure, but have a moment that you can understand what that pleasure entails, right? So I think it's always important to understand, outercourse. And funny thing about outercourse is I always think about it as something, we do like when we're in high school, or, when we're young. We don't want to quite get into, penetration or anything like that, right? There's a lot of kind of outercourse happening, right? There's a lot of kind of manual techniques that are happening, lots of rubbing, some dry humping, maybe. So there's like lots of different ways that people experience their love lives without having to, go there or go all the way, in a sense, right? And so I think it's super, super important to understand and have that conversation first, right, with someone. Understand that, hey, my genitals maybe are just out of commission for today, but I would really love to try something different, maybe something new, right? And this can also be a way of, spicing up your life, right? In a sense that we know that variety, right, and unpredictability lead to more robust and fun and long lasting pleasure over time. So, this could be another form of trying something different, right? Or you could even say something along the lines of like, I really love it when you da 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 da, right? Let's try it in a different way, right? I really love when you hump me, but let's try it in a different way, maybe over here, over there. Or I want to try to have an orgasm in a different way, in a new way. These are all really great things to say if you are wanting to try something a little bit different. So again, preparing for success is going to be your best bet. So having that conversation, getting any kind of, I don't know, lube, toys, any other stimulants that you need ahead of time, and thinking about just, really discussing like what body parts really turn you on, right? These are really great ways to understand how you want to engage, with the lover. But there's also certain responsibilities, right? Responsibilities of the receiver, as well as the giver, right? And some of the things around like receiver responsibilities, right? Following someone's lead, being active, And again, remembering what turns them on. These are all going to be really great keys to being prepared for pleasure and for your success, right? Understand that you can use various body parts as different objects of desire, right? So it's not just about genitals to genitals, right? Or chest to genitals or any of those things. Although chest to genitals is just fine, right? Because that's also a form of outer course. But you can use different parts, rub your shoulders or your upper arm, or even, we call it, or it used to be called back in the day. They've kind of changed the lingo up, but it's called tribadism, right? Where you rub your upper thigh up against, right, your partner's genitals, right? A lot of us did that, right? Called it humping or hunching or whatever it is. But a lot of that is part of outer course. And we have to remember that, like, we used to do these things, right? And some of us still do these things, kind of rub up or use our bodies in ways that can rub up on a person's genitals that are still very, very pleasant, very fun, and a good way to give and receive pleasure. Because not all the time, we don't always have to say no, right? We don't always have to say no to, whatever the thing is, the experience or the pleasure, just because our genitals may be out of commission, right? So really having some body awareness is going to help you understand, hey, what is on my body that I can use to facilitate pleasure, right? What is on my head? I know for me, I'm like, my ears, I have a very sensitive ear piercing over here. So like, don't touch my ears, right? Maybe I'm like, oh, my shoulders are good, right? My arms are pretty strong and good. My thighs, my legs, my hips, my boobs. What are the things that make me feel good and right? So really kind of doing a body awareness check around your feet, right? People love feet. Some people hate feet. So thinking about, hey, can I use my feet in an experience? Would that be fun? Of course it would be. Well, I think it would be, but whatever, right? So what do you like? What kind of sensitivities you have? Because maybe you're ticklish on your feet, or maybe you're ticklish on your sides, or maybe your neck is like a really great pleasure zone for you. So really thinking about like all the different pleasure zones are going to be really important for you to take in. In addition, you really want to think about how it looks. So when I'm giving this class, I really actually love giving this class because I have these amazing dolls that I use for it. Now I have to show you what the dolls look like because they're awesome. I have these really great dolls. And, they look like this. And of course, I have one of the cool things you can get off of Etsy, right? Strap-ons for Barbies. And I got one of those. It came all the way from, I think, Germany. So I nailed that on. So I was like, all right, and they have different, I do simulations between, different kinds of bodies, what those bodies look like and how, that looks, and what you can do as far as penetration wise and way you rub them up. So I have like a third camera that I put on, and I do like the little figures and be like, you can rub here and you can do that. And which I'm not going to show you right now, but it's a really fun class when I'm teaching that class, because then it actually gives people an idea of ways that they can move their bodies that feels really good, right? And that you can really, again, experiment with. So I highly encourage you to think about what that looks like when you are using your genitals, or want to be with someone who wants to put their genitals on your body some way or some shape or form, right? If one person's genitals are out of commission, right? If both people's genitals are out of commission, that might be a little bit difficult. When I'm thinking about Outercourse, it's usually just one person's genitals are out of commission. But if both people are out of commission, then, take a break, and then, come back to it. There's no reason to rush or, have, there's no reason to keep going if you might not be experiencing pleasure of some sort, or both people are maybe having high anxiety, for whatever reason, right? So but that is all I have for you today. Again, you can always you can submit your comments to me anonymously all the time by going to qrco.de/lovetipsama, and I'm happy to answer those questions anonymously. If you are let me check actually, because I don't think I checked this time to see if I got any. I was in a rush, y'all, to get on today. So let me check to see if I got any questions. No questions today, and no anonymous questions today. But of course, feel free to download my free Arts and Science of Seduction class. All you have to do is go to velvetlipsexed.com/shop. And if you are an educator, or if you are a sexologist, or any of the sort in a sexuality-based business, I would love to have you on and talk about your brand and whatnot. In addition, please go get your tickets before sales go up. I had a dream last night. I was texting Tia this morning. I had a dream that we were selling SDS tickets at the grocery store, which I don't know if that's something we would ever do, but it was kind of funny, right? And so you can always get your ticket to the Sex Down South conference just by going to sexdownsouth.com and using my code MarlaSDS to get 20% off. It is in Atlanta, like it is every year, and our theme is spiritual awakening. So we have some really great sex celebs for you all, and just super excited to be to do it again this year. It's our 11th year. 11 is a nice spiritual number. Of course, everybody's like, make a wish on 11/11, 11/11 for 11th year. So yeah, super excited about that. Also, I just wanted to say it is my 15-year work anniversary, a workiversary. And so 15 years I've had Velvet Lips Sex Ed, and I've been doing this amazing work. And so I'm just super proud that it's been 15 years of my life, that, I've had many ups, many downs. And I'm hoping to release, I was trying to release the app today, and that's not going to happen. But that's okay. Doing my best to try to make it happen as soon as possible. Hopefully, maybe by the end of the month, we'll see. It's kind of a busy week for me this week. If you are, but speaking of a busy week, though, I do have a couple of classes that are happening. So I have the Alluring Unicorns class, as well as the whatchamacallit, the Women in Kink class in Atlanta. So that's going to be in person. The Unicorns class is going to be virtual. So please make sure you check that out. You can go to or sign up at sexdownsouth.com to sign up for those classes. Or you can go to our Instagram at SDSCon, and we would love to have you there. So it's a Women in Kink, just kind of rounding out, celebrating women in kink. We're going to talk about some amazing things around sort of what does it mean to like really get into our kink, and how we use our power, how we're exchanging our power, and what that looks like. So super excited to do that. We're going to do it at Kiss and Ride Atlanta, ATL, Kiss and Ride ATL. Which is a nice little new kind of little sex shop. So, yeah, made for, queer folks, accessibility, just really being personal to the needs and cares of folks doing the thing. So super excited to be there on Saturday. And I guess that is it for today, y'all. So again, we're rounding out this week about Outercourse. If you missed it, that's okay. You can go ahead and get the recording when it's done. But next week, let's see, we will be talking about, what will we be talking about? We'll be just talking about all about seduction, y'all. So we'll be going over what is visual seduction, what does that look like? And if you're not familiar with the seduction learning styles, please make sure you check that out in our book. If you haven't received our book already, if you haven't gotten our book already, oops. Oh, look at that, my camera. Come on now. Camera, look at me. So our book, The Ultimate Guide to Seduction and Foreplay. So super happy that Jess and I co-wrote this book. We have both of our sexual theories in there. And so mine is the seduction learning styles. Hers is the core erotic feeling and elevated erotic feeling. So please make sure you check that out if you haven't already. You can order it at your local bookstore or the bookstore that is most convenient for you. All right, y'all. Without further ado, thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you for the wonderful hearts. I appreciate you being here and supporting me. And again, feel free to submit your questions anytime at qrco.de/lovetipsama. And I'm happy to answer those for you. So, all right, y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. Have a wonderful week. And I will see you all next week. All right. All right. Bye.